Last week, I posted a reel sharing some of my thoughts on why autistic people might drink alcohol to cope with social situations. And somebody commented underneath the reel to say that what I was describing was the disease of alcoholism, and I was just using autism as an excuse and blaming it for my bad behavior. I've given that a lot of thought over the last week. There are several areas of autistic experience that look like other things. For instance, autistic burnout can often be misdiagnosed as depression, and somebody having an autistic meltdown can be told that they must be very angry when they don't feel angry at all. We need to have nuance here. It is possible to be autistic and also have a problem with alcohol. It's also possible to be autistic and drink alcohol to cope with a social situation and for that to develop into alcoholism. And let's be honest, it's also possible to blame autism for your behaviour. So I took the test at drinkaware.co.uk. I will put a link in the comments. It only takes a couple of minutes. I ended up scoring 7 out of 20, which apparently puts me at the lower risk end of developing alcohol-related issues. In my case, the circumstances that made me want to drink alcohol were when I was in an environment that wasn't autistically friendly. It was usually when I was somewhere quite hot with a lot of people making a lot of noise and mingling and perhaps being bumped, and the only option for me was to make small talk all evening, and then I wanted to drink. If you took that environment away, my desire to drink alcohol completely vanished. I'm not using autism as an excuse. I'm using it as a lens to look through to understand my life and make changes that actually work. For example, last weekend we had a party at our house. There was about 20 people here. It lasted about 8 hours. Small talk was the only thing on the menu. That's the kind of environment where in the previous life I would have drunk a lot. But this time we tried to tackle it knowing that I was autistic. What could we do so that I could cope and have a good time? We laid out extension cords and put fans in the gardens that I could be cooler. For the first few hours of the party, I said to my partner I would act as a waiter. I would make sure everybody had food and drink so that I had a job to do and I wasn't worried that I had just had to make small talk. Once the food and drink had been served, I made sure I sat down with people where the conversations had a point. It wasn't small talk, it was information exchange. By the end of the evening, I think I'd had in total 2 glasses of Prosecco, and not because I needed them, but because I wanted them, and they were quite nice to drink. I think it was a really useful point that the person in the comment made, and I'm glad that I checked. If you would like to check as well, the test that I took is at www.drinkaware.co.uk/tools/drinking-check.